Hello and welcome to Topper Machine. I'm Josh Topper, and today we've got an interesting one. We've got to make this. This is a bandsaw blade guard, and I've re-engineered these in the past and actually have made these in the past. And one of the things that I made for doing that was the pin jaws that are for sale in my online store. And we have to hold this odd shape, and that's why I developed the pin jaws. So we're going to go ahead and machine this up first, and then there's some machining on these pieces, which I had laser cut, and then weld it all together. All right, first step here is to change out the jaws, and I really do like these snap jaws, and I made my first set of pin jaws out of a set of snap jaws. Now the ones that I make and sell are just regular bolt-in jaws, and they're actually very low priced for what I got into them, just so we can sell them quicker. But if you're interested, they are available in my online store, so please check those out. And it's simple as that with these snap jaws. Pretty straightforward and easy. I love these things. I've got many different sets of them, but they are quite pricey. And it looks like I'm still set up for the last time I did this job. Not quite. I need to move one pin over. All right, so when we made the drawing, we made it using this corner as our 0 point, and everything is off of this corner. And as you can see, there's just no better way to hold this, but we're going to go ahead and take our edge finder here and find our 2 zeros and get our 0 point, and then we'll get switched over to a mill and start milling this out to what it needs to be. All right, I got my 0 point set here now. We can get switched to an end mill, and I just want to point out the repeatability of these jaws. So I should be coming off of back here because of the pins back here, but the way the drawing is. But we also have this stop here that I'm using as a stop. So the repeatability is very good. And these parts are not super critical. Like they have a lot of give in them. I could be almost a 1/4 inch off and they still would work. So not a big deal, but there's a lot of repeatability with these things. So okay, now I know it sounds like I'm giving a sales pitch, and I kind of am, because we do have a lot of pin jaws in stock yet in 4, 6, and 8 inch, and I've got more 6 inch in the works right now. I don't want this whole video to be a sales pitch. I'm going to kind of leave it off here, just might make a comment every now and then about things, but you'll see how versatile these jaws are and how well they work. The whole point of this video is to get this job done and get these parts out to my customers. So if you're interested in the pin jaws, check out my website, toppermachine.com. They are there in the store and ready to ship. And if you run out of stock, we'll make more right away. So check that out, and let's get on with the machining. All right, so we're going to machine this thing entirely with the 3/4 inch solid carbide end mill, just because it's easier to figure out my offsets and everything using the 3/4, and it's solid carbide, so it'll cut well. So we'll go ahead and just bring it down, touch it, lock the quill. We're not bringing it down a lot. Most people will freak out about that. And then zero my knee, and I actually do double. I do the digital readout and I do the knee crank. Back it off a little bit, and we'll come in. Actually, we're going to do this step first because this is only an 1/8 inch down. Bring it over to our starting point, and then we'll start milling this out. That's a nice finish. And that's full depth, eighth inch. So now I'm going to just run it back through this groove just to make sure we didn't have any deflection or anything. And it is cutting a little bit, but not a big deal. All right, now I don't want to climb mill with this, so we're doing it all from this end. And I'm going to take about that much. And then we'll finish the last pass over here. And this should be our last pass. All right, so I'm dead on here. I was off a little bit on my math, on my width, and I've got to take another 45 thousandths, so we'll take one more pass there. Perfect. That's right where we need to be. Got a little chip in there. I should have blown that out before measuring, but yeah, perfect. Couldn't have asked for better. Now we'll come back over and take this next step. This comes down an additional 1/8 inch. So I actually missed a step. Before I get carried away, let's cut that in there. Okay, we got our groove here where this mounts. We got this little step here done. Now we got to do this step. And that's just an additional 1/8 inch. Now I do have a drawing that we made, but I can't show the drawing because it's got the customer's name and the product name on it. So the product is a very well-known manufacturer in this field. So I don't want to share this information, but if you own one of these, you probably know what this is, or you've been around this industry, you know what this is. So if you're interested, I do make these to sell to specific customers. So now I want to take a look at this end mill because I don't like the cut I'm getting. And I've been using this end mill now for about 3 months, and I can see some wear on it. It's a carbide end mill, but when you're getting into this laser cut crap, this is hard stuff. I wish we had a water jetter local that was worth a damn. So I'm going to change out that end mill because this one's definitely seen some better days. And then we'll do the next step. Okay, so I put the new end mill in, just brought it down, touched it, and then backed off the knee a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and just bring it up and reset my 0. And right there, which we are exactly where we were. So that came out perfect. So now we can go ahead and mill this next step. All right, so I'm going to start by just taking this top ledge off that we need to take off anyway. And then we'll move on to the step itself. Yeah, that's cutting a lot better. I'm just going to bring it over to my finished position, lock it, and then we'll take this off and then drop down and take the last pass. All right, here we go. All right, all the milling's done, and boy, that gave a much better surface finish. So obviously that end mill was bad. A little bit of lubrication with carbide isn't a bad thing either. I would use the anchor lube, but this went just fine. And this is the only real critical dimension on this part is this width and then the thicknesses, and we are spot on the thicknesses. I already measured those, so we're all good. Now we'll go ahead and we'll start drilling. We got 2 little tapped holes here. I always hand tap those just because they're M4 by 0.7, and then 4 drilled holes here. Oh, what the hell? Josh just did a stupid. I gotta take more. I totally forgot what I was doing, and I am a little too thick now on the material. So I got to take one more pass, another 1/8 inch off. Ever have one of those days? Tell ya. So I'll just finish off this step, and then we'll go back up and take the pass on the other step. One of those days. All right, and this time I'm going to use a little anchor lube. I got this batch here that I thinned out because we're actually taking quite a bit of material off this thing. It's going to start getting warm here quick, so that'll help cool everything. let's fix my stupid. Alright, now that I fixed my screw up, we can go ahead and start our drilling. Get the holes drilled in this and then move on to the bars. Okay, next I'm going to drill these two that are tapped also. And like I said earlier, I'm going to hand tap these just because they're so small. I don't want to risk machine tapping and breaking them. And at least with hand tapping, you got the feel. Like you can feel when it's not right. That's actually going, I'm not going to say it because that's when things will go wrong. Okay, we're through. That went really well. Alright, I don't know if that's showing up on the camera, but they are tapped. So now we can move on to the 4 holes over here. Alright, so I got my drill over here for drilling the first hole, and as we can see, we're going to have a little issue. We will hit our jaw. So we're not actually going to drill all the way through. We'll drill just most of the way and then finish this off on a regular drill press. So in order to accomplish that, I'm going to come off the end here and just get close to where we'll punch through and set a quill stop, just like that. So that way it can't go any deeper, and we should be perfect. All right, now I'm over here at my 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 crappy drill press, and I'm just going to put a tiniest little drop of anchor lube in each hole here, and then finish punching these through. Well, with the exception of a little bit of deburring, this one's done. Now we can move over to the horizontal mill and mill the flat bars that get actually welded to this, which is actual blade guard itself. So this is for a big bandsaw for an industry, and I can't say the name unfortunately, but if you've ever worked with one of these, you'll recognize this piece when it's all done. Okay, so in order to set this up, I need to basically set up stops to set my depth exactly the same, and then I'm going to run 3 clamps, one here, one in the middle, and one out here, and then come across it with a face mill with 45 degree to get my 45 that's on the original part. And the thing to remember is there are rights and lefts to these, but if you can see that 45 in there, that's what we got to hit. And this one is obviously not the best, but we will make them all the same. So that's what we'll do. I'll make set stops there, and in order to get that where I want them, I know the back side of my table is good, so I'll just use my caliper, come in, measure, and then set the second one at the same distance. So pretty simple, straightforward setup. All right, I got her all clamped down. We'll get the spindle started, touch off, and get this thing cutting. looks nice, but we're not quite enough. I got to take just a little bit more. So looking at my cutter, I think I'll go up a little bit with the knee and in a little bit with the table, and we should be good. I was feeding 11.5 inches a minute. I don't know if you can see that down there. I'm going to increase that to 22 and actually speed up my spindle to 895 from 680. All right, let's try this again. All right, there we go. That's a lot better. All right, we got the second piece in there, locked down, ready to cut. We'll get this done and then get these welded together. All right, so we got our block, our mount, and we got our left and right plates here. And we'll head back to the weld shop. We'll get these put together, laid out the way they go, and weld them all up. All right, so I got her laid out how it's gonna go, all clamped together and ready to weld. I'll bring you in and show you how we got this set up. So it's really simple, really. I got a spacer bar in there to set my width. And then to maintain that, I just drop these little blocks, well, not that far in, but right up on top, and then weld them across the top on both sides, and that maintains this location. Same as the original one here, just I do it a little bit different, a little bigger pieces. And then we have our angle and everything set up just right on here. She's clamped in, and that is all set by the angle that is lasered on this part here. So we got the angle lasered in. We, like I said, we reverse engineered this thing extensively, and it's just a matter of a little bit of finish machining, clamp it all together, and then weld it all up. So let's go ahead and weld this thing up and get this one primed and ready to go out the door. All right, well, here you go. That's the finished product right there. All welded up and ready to go to the customer. Primed. So, unfortunately, I couldn't tell you what this was for, but those of you that work in the industry or work in a place that has one of these saws knows what it is. Please don't comment what it is. But if your company is looking for these parts, I took a part that was extremely overpriced and very difficult to get lead time wise, and worked with this customer. We re-engineered it, and now it's only slightly overpriced. Actually, it's significantly more reasonably priced than what the OEM was charging. So, and the lead time is way less. I can knock these out in just waiting on the laser parts in a couple of days or a couple weeks. So if you have a need for these parts, reach out to me off of the channel. Just go to my website, toppermachine.com, and send me an email. And if you're looking for pin jaws, they are in stock. 4, 6, and 8-inch pin jaws. You can hold some really cool stuff, do some really neat stuff with them, things you couldn't do otherwise. I spent a lot of years trying to figure out the best way to hold things, and these pin jaws have been amazing. They've just exceeded my expectations. I've had several people that have bought them from my web store reach out and just send me pictures and say how much they love them, and the repeatability and the ease of holding things that they couldn't hold otherwise. So if you're interested in a set, check out my website, toppermachine.com. And with that, thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. Lots of cool stuff coming on the channel. And until next time, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.